Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here from Gwiglet, your one-stop shop for all things books, beards and beyond. In today's video I'm going to give you some last minute advice for the Educas GCSE English Literature Paper 2, due to take place tomorrow at the time of recording. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends and drop any comments and questions you may have. Don't forget the Gwiglet guarantee, every question will be replied to. Also, if you haven't already, Gwiglet is available on Instagram and TikTok, so be sure to see us there for more hints, tips and advice. Now, let's get started with my advice for this paper. Now, I'm going to go through it through the lens of the texts that I teach, so there will be an element of looking specifically at the text mentioned now up here, but this advice applies to any of the ones you're doing because I'll be looking at it relative to the sections and the mark scheme itself. So let's break it down. The paper is 2.5 hours long in regular time. There are 3 sections. Each you should spend approximately 50 minutes on. In essence, there are 3 sections. You have the post-1914 prose drama section. Section B is always the 19th century literature section, and section C is unseen poetry. So my advice today is going to start in terms of the post-1914 prose drama. Section A, or Blood Brothers, is the one I most commonly teach it through. So with this section, it's always one question, 40 marks worth, with an extract included. Think of it a little bit like last week's Macbeth question, but combined. So you've got the extract and the whole text in one go. Now, my advice for this question is to think of it along this line. If you are looking, for example, at Blood Brothers, you want to be analysing 3 to 4 points within the extract, and then a subsequent 4 to 5 points through the wider text. In addition, make sure that if you are feeling confident, and this is really an optional thing, if you're feeling confident, you analyse the extract chronologically, i.e. where it lands within the piece itself, rather than starting with it. But that's just an option. If you still make sure you analyse, it should be roughly a 40% extract to 60% whole text piece in general. And by the way, if it is a play like Blood Brothers, stage directions are a godsend. Make sure you use them, really analyse them as much as the language itself. Other pieces of advice in this point: there is no marks for context on the post-1914 prose drama part. So there are not marks to be awarded there. That comes later. In addition, make sure that you are sticking to the question. Focus on the question itself. There's no marks for waffling around it, or rather there's less marks for waffling around it. It just suggests lack of accuracy. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is move on to the section B, which is the 19th century literature part. Now with this part, context is awarded, so I'm going to look at it through the lens of A Christmas Carol. You want to be talking about Victorian values and attitudes. You want to be talking about the idea of charity and philanthropy. You want to be talking about these ideas of how Dickens created it as what he called a ghostly little novel. I have a video on A Christmas Carol and its context on this channel, so be sure to check that one out. But again, section B is about short, sharp, precise quotes that you are then digging, you are analysing through. In addition, what you are also doing is tracking through the text, so make sure where these characters or themes are seen at the beginning and the middle and the end of the text. But in terms of actually answering the question, the song remains the same. You get an extract, you get one question in total, worth 40 marks, and the additional point you need to remember about this, just like before, you analyse roughly 40% of your piece, dedicating it to the extract. 60% of your piece should be the whole text itself. Ideally, you would want to put this extract chronologically within the essay itself, as in where it lands, but don't worry too much about that, particularly if we're looking for solid 4s, solid 5s, even up to grade 6s. That doesn't matter too much. It's just a smart little thing to be able to do. So for example, let's say it was Fred and his appearance in A Christmas Carol. If it was him in Stave 3, for instance, you would put that somewhere in the middle of your piece, because you'd obviously bring Fred in earlier on when he's talking to Scrooge in Stave 1 and so on. Now, regular viewers of this channel will be aware that I've already created a video on unseen poetry. I've also shown, there's a couple of the videos on there. We're just going to spend a few minutes going through the basic facts of unseen poetry, because a lot of students are quite worried about that one. And they are threefold. Firstly, it will tell you what those poems are about thematically. It will give you that. It is there on the page. Secondly, the first question, you're looking for roughly 3 to 4 points of analysis. It's modelled the exact same way as the previous poetry anthology analysis question last week, right? Paper 1. That's the second thing to bear in mind. You've done this before, just with different poems. Third piece of advice I would offer is to make sure read them through 3 times. Look at the ideas I've given on here in terms of blocking on the channel. Also, when you are comparing, bonus 4th point here, when you are comparing, you want to make sure that you are really being precise in your comparisons back and forth between the poems themselves. So there you have it, folks. This is my kind of rough and ready guide to the paper for Literature Paper 2 on Educast. If you do have any further questions, be sure to drop me a comment. I will get back to every single one of you. That is the Gwiglet guarantee. But otherwise, believe in yourselves, take care, all the very best, and bye-bye.